The basement door had always been the one door in the house that felt like it was holding its breath. Maya stood in the hallway with the key in her hand, staring at the old brass knob. The air smelled like dust and lemon cleaner, like someone had tried too hard to make the house feel normal again. It did not work. Nothing felt normal since her sister was gone. Above her, the house was quiet in a heavy way. No music. No soft footsteps. No voice calling her name from the kitchen like before. Just silence, and the paper in her hand that said the house was hers now. She had promised herself she would not come here alone. She had promised her aunt, too. But promises were easier to make when the sun was up and people were around. Now it was late afternoon, the sky already turning gray. Maya had driven here without thinking too much. Like her body remembered the road, even if her mind did not want to. Her sister Alia had lived in this house for years. A small place with a narrow porch, pale walls, and a backyard that needed care. It was not fancy. But it had been Alia's. It had been full of her plans. Maya had expected to feel love when she arrived, maybe even comfort. Instead, she felt like she had stepped into a paused moment, like the house was waiting for someone to press play. The basement door was part of that waiting. Maya took a breath and tried to act like a normal person with a normal task. She had come to sort boxes, check what needed repair, maybe decide what she could keep and what she could give away. That was what people did after someone died. They packed the life into cardboard and made lists. But she could not stop thinking about Alia's last message. It had arrived 2 nights before the accident. Short. Strange. If anything happens, do not trust the papers. Go to the basement. Look at the wall behind the shelves. Maya had read it so many times that she could hear Alia's voice in the words. Calm, serious, almost like she was warning Maya about a storm. At the time, Maya had called her sister right away. No answer. She had sent 3 messages. No reply. The next day, Alia had texted like normal, as if nothing happened. Maya had wanted to ask, but she had been busy, and she had told herself she was overthinking it. Now the message sat in her chest like a stone. She put the key into the lock. It turned with a rough scrape. The door opened slowly, and cold air crawled out like it had been trapped for a long time. Maya flicked the light switch. Nothing. Of course. The bulb had probably died, or the chain had snapped. Alia always said she would fix it later. Maya used her phone flashlight and aimed it down the stairs. The steps were narrow and steep. The wooden handrail felt slightly sticky, like old varnish that had seen too many summers. Maya stepped down 1 stair at a time, careful, listening. There was a sound, faint but clear. A soft tapping. Maya froze. Tap, tap, tap. It was not loud. It was not like someone knocking on a door. It sounded like something light hitting something hard, again and again, in the same slow pattern. Maya held her phone steady, forcing her breath to stay quiet. Her mind tried to fill the sound with fear. A pipe. A drip. A loose wire. Tap, tap, tap. She went down 2 more steps. The tapping grew clearer. It was coming from the left side, near the corner where Alia had kept paint cans and old jars. Maya reached the basement floor. The concrete was colder than she expected, even through her shoes. The basement smelled like damp cardboard and metal. A thin layer of dust covered everything, but the space did not feel abandoned. It felt used. Recent. She swept the light across the room. There were shelves along one wall, packed with labeled bins. Tools hung on hooks. A small table held a stack of notebooks. The place looked organized, almost too organized for a basement. Alia had not been messy, but she was not this neat either. Not unless she was trying to control something. Tap, tap, tap. Maya followed the sound toward the corner. Her light landed on an old clock sitting on a low crate. The clock's glass face was cracked, and its second hand was bent, but it still worked. The tapping was the second hand catching and slipping, catching and slipping. Maya let out a breath she did not know she had been holding. Really, Alia, she whispered, as if her sister might laugh from somewhere behind a box. The quiet returned, but the feeling did not go away. The basement still felt like it was holding a secret. Maya looked at the shelves. Behind them was the wall Alia had mentioned. The shelves were large, heavy, full of jars and bins. Moving them would not be easy. But Maya was not here for easy. She was here for answers. She set her phone down on the table with the flashlight aimed upward, so the room stayed lit. Then she started removing items from the shelves. One by one, she carried bins to the center of the floor. Nails, screws, old wires, a box of childhood things, a faded scarf, a small photo frame, a broken toy car that had once belonged to Maya's brother. Her throat tightened when she saw the frame. There was a picture of the two sisters, teenagers with messy hair, leaning into each other, laughing like the world was simple. Maya stared at it for a second too long. Then she placed it gently on the table and kept going. After 15 minutes, her hands were dusty and her shoulders ached. Finally, the shelves were light enough to move. Maya pushed with both hands. The shelves scraped across the concrete with a loud groan. Behind them was a plain wall, painted a dull off-white. At first glance, it looked normal. But Alia had said, "Look at the wall, not look inside a box." That meant something was different. Maya swept her phone light across it slowly. There. A line, thin but visible, like someone had cut around a square shape and then tried to paint over it. The paint was slightly newer in that area, and the edges were too straight to be a crack. A hidden panel. Maya's heart started to beat harder. She ran her fingers along the line. The wall felt solid, but the square did not blend in perfectly. It was like a door pretending to be a wall. Maya looked around for a tool and found a flat screwdriver in a bin. Her hands shook as she slid the tip into the edge of the square. It resisted. She pushed harder. The screwdriver scraped. Dust fell. The edge lifted just a little. Maya pulled, and the panel popped open with a soft thump. Behind it was not insulation. Not pipes. Not wires. It was a hollow space, deep enough to hide a small suitcase. And inside that space was a bundle wrapped in plastic. Maya stared, not moving for a full second, like her brain needed time to accept what her eyes were seeing. Then she reached in and pulled the bundle out. It was heavier than she expected. The plastic was taped tightly. She peeled the tape slowly, like she was afraid whatever was inside might disappear if she moved too fast. When she opened it, she found 3 things. A small metal box with a dial lock. A thick envelope labeled with her name, Maya. And a folded paper that looked like a map. Maya's mouth went dry. She picked up the envelope first. Her name was written in Alia's handwriting, neat and careful. Just seeing those letters felt like being pulled into a memory. Maya sat on the floor, back against the shelves, and opened it. Inside was a letter. She read the first line and felt the air leave her lungs. "If you are reading this, then I did not get the chance to explain." Maya's eyes blurred instantly. She blinked hard and kept reading. Alia wrote that she had found something that did not make sense. Something about the house, about documents she had been asked to sign, about a repair project that was never real. She wrote about strange visits from a man who claimed to be from a housing office. She wrote about neighbors being pressured to sell their homes for cheap. Alia said she had started asking questions, and that people did not like questions. Maya swallowed and looked at the metal box. Suddenly, it did not feel like a random secret. It felt like a piece of a bigger story. A story Alia had been trapped inside. The letter continued. Alia wrote that she had made copies of papers and saved proof, but she was not sure who she could trust. She wrote that if Maya was holding the letter, Maya had to be careful. She wrote that the metal box held something important, and the map showed where she had hidden the rest. Maya's hands trembled so much the paper shook. At the bottom of the letter, Alia had written one more line, underlined twice. "Do not go to the police first. Go to Cameron." Maya stared at the name. Cameron. She knew it. Not well, but enough. Cameron was Alia's friend from her volunteer work at the community center. A quiet man with kind eyes. The type of person who listened more than he spoke. Maya had met him only once, at a small event. He had seemed normal. Safe. But why would Alia choose him? Why not family? Why not an official place? Maya's mind spun. The letter was a warning and a puzzle at the same time. She picked up the folded map and opened it carefully. It was hand-drawn, with simple lines and clear labels. A street. A row of buildings. A small mark behind what looked like the community center. There was a circle around a spot near a back wall, and next to it Alia had written, "Under the blue tile." Maya looked up, suddenly aware of how quiet the basement had become. She reached for the metal box. It was cold and solid, the lock dial stiff. Maya tried turning it, but it was locked tight. The combination had to be somewhere. Maybe in the letter. Maybe in the house. Maya stood up, holding the box, and aimed her flashlight at the wall space again. She checked deeper inside, hoping there was another note. Her fingers touched something taped to the back of the hollow. She pulled it free. It was a small strip of paper with 4 numbers. 1927. Maya's breath caught. She did not know what the numbers meant, but she could guess they were the code. Her hands moved fast, almost too fast. She turned the dial on the box. 1927. The lock clicked. Maya lifted the lid. Inside was a USB drive, a small stack of folded documents, and a tiny key tied to a tag that said, Storage 14. Maya stared at the key. Storage 14. Another place. Another secret. Her thoughts raced ahead. A storage unit could hold anything. Boxes. Records. Maybe even the full truth Alia had been gathering. Maya's phone buzzed suddenly. The sound startled her so hard she nearly dropped the box. She grabbed the phone. The screen showed an unknown number. Maya hesitated. Her thumb hovered over the answer button. The phone buzzed again. A second call, same number. Maya's heartbeat thudded in her ears. She answered. Hello. For a moment, there was only a thin hiss, like the caller was breathing near the microphone. Then a voice spoke, low and controlled. Leave the basement, Maya. Maya's blood ran cold. Who is this? She demanded, but her voice came out smaller than she wanted. Do not open anything else, the voice continued, ignoring her question. Do not take the papers out of the house. Maya gripped the phone so tightly her fingers hurt. How do you know I'm here? The line went quiet for half a second, and then the voice said, almost gently, because you were not supposed to find it. The call ended. Maya stared at the screen, her mind blank for a moment. Then she looked around the basement, suddenly seeing it differently. The shelves. The table. The clock. The wall panel. If someone had just called her, someone knew. That meant Alia had not been paranoid. Maya's eyes flicked to the stairs. She moved quickly, stuffing the USB drive into her pocket, holding the papers close, keeping the storage key in her fist. She put the letter back in the envelope. Her hands were clumsy with fear, but she forced them to work. As she turned to leave, her light swept across the floor near the corner. And she saw it. A footprint in the dust. Not old. Not faded. Fresh. It was near the paint cans, close to the basement window. Maya froze. The window was small, high up, with a rusty frame. Alia had always said it was stuck, impossible to open. But now Maya noticed something she had not noticed before. The window was not fully closed. It was cracked open just a little, like someone had pushed it from the outside. A cold thread of air slid in. Maya backed away slowly, the metal box pressed to her chest. Her eyes went to the shelves again, the hidden wall panel now hanging open like a mouth. Alia's message suddenly made more sense. Not just the warning, but the fear behind it. Maya swallowed, forcing herself to move. She climbed the stairs fast, Not running but close. She locked the basement door behind her and pressed her back to it, listening. The house was still quiet. But the quiet no longer felt empty. It felt watched. Maya stared at the envelope in her hands, at her own name on it, and realized something that made her stomach drop. Alia had not hidden these things because she wanted them stored away forever. She had hidden them so Maya could find them at the right time. And now the right time had arrived, whether Maya was ready or not. Maya stepped away from the door, holding the key and the box, and made a decision. She would not stay in this house tonight. She would go to Cameron. And she would find storage 14. Because if someone was already warning her to stop, then Alia's secret was bigger than Maya had ever imagined. And the next move might decide everything. Maya did not look back at the house when she left. She locked the front door, slid the key into her pocket, and walked to her car with steady steps that did not match the storm inside her chest. The street was quiet, too quiet for early evening. Porch lights blinked on one by one, like tired eyes opening. She started the engine and pulled away without turning on the radio. Silence felt safer than noise. Every sound seemed important now. Every shadow felt closer than it should. As she drove, Maya replayed the phone call again and again. "Leave the basement, Maya." The voice had known her name. It had known where she was. That meant someone had been watching the house. Maybe for days. Maybe longer. Maya tightened her grip on the steering wheel. Alia had not imagined it. She had not been afraid for no reason. Maya drove straight to the community center. It sat near the edge of town, a low brick building with wide windows and a faded sign. Alia used to talk about it all the time. She said it was the one place where people still cared about each other. When Maya pulled into the parking lot, only a few cars were there. The sun was almost gone now, leaving the sky a deep blue. The center lights glowed softly, warm and welcoming. For a moment, Maya stayed in the car, breathing slowly, trying to calm her hands. Then she got out. Inside, the building smelled like clean floors and old books. A bulletin board near the door was covered with flyers for free classes and local meetings. Maya walked past them, following the sound of voices. Cameron was in one of the side rooms, stacking chairs. He looked up when Maya stepped inside. He froze. "Maya," he said, his voice careful. "You came." The way he said it made her pause. Not surprised. Not confused. Almost relieved. "You knew I would?" she asked. Cameron set the chairs down and nodded once. "I hoped." Maya closed the door behind her. The room felt safe, but she did not relax. She kept her bag close and watched him closely. "I found the letter," she said. "And the things she hid." Cameron's shoulders dropped, just a little, like he had been carrying weight and was finally allowed to set some of it down. "She told me you might," he said. "If something happened to her." Maya swallowed. "Why you?" Cameron did not answer right away. He walked to the table and pulled out a chair, sitting slowly. "Because I listened," he said finally. "And because I did not work for anyone." Maya frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means," Cameron said, "that Alia believed there were people in this town who wanted that block of houses gone. Not repaired. Not improved. Gone." Maya felt a chill. "For what?" Cameron leaned forward. "For a development project. Big money. New buildings. New owners. Old residents pushed out quietly." Maya thought of the strange man Alia had written about. The pressure to sign papers. The visits that did not feel official. They killed her. Maya asked, the words heavy and sharp. Cameron shook his head quickly. "No proof. And I do not believe it was planned that way. But I do believe she was scared. And I believe someone wanted her to stop asking questions." Maya reached into her bag and placed the USB drive on the table. Cameron's eyes flicked to it. "This was in the wall," Maya said, "along with documents and a storage key." Cameron closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were serious. "Storage 14, he said quietly. Maya stiffened. "You know it." "Yes," Cameron said. "Because Alia showed it to me once. Just once. She said if she did not come back, that place mattered more than the house." Maya's heart started to race again. "What is in it?" "Proof," Cameron said. At least, that is what she hoped. Maya stood. "Then we should go. Now." Cameron hesitated. "We should not go together." Maya stared at him. "What?" "If someone is watching," he said, "they might expect you to come here. They might not expect you to leave alone." Maya understood the logic, but it did not make her feel better. "So what do you suggest?" Cameron reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "I will go to storage 14 and check the area first. You stay somewhere safe. If it looks clear, I will message you." Maya shook her head. "No. Alia trusted you, but this is my sister. I am not waiting while someone else walks into a trap." Cameron studied her face, then nodded slowly. "All right. Then we move carefully." They left in separate cars, as planned, meeting again near the storage facility on the edge of town. The place was a long stretch of metal units, painted dull gray, with bright lights that made everything look flat and exposed. Maya parked 2 rows away and walked the rest of the distance. Cameron waited near a vending machine, pretending to check his phone. "Anything strange?" Maya asked quietly. "Not yet," Cameron said. "But stay alert." They reached Unit 14. The lock was old but clean, like it had been used recently. Maya slid the small key into it. It turned easily. She lifted the door. Inside were boxes. Lots of them. Neatly stacked, labeled with dates and short notes. Maya stepped in, her heart pounding. Cameron pulled the door down halfway behind them, leaving a gap of light. They opened the first box. Papers. Copies of contracts. Maps. Photos of houses with markings drawn on them. Names circled. Prices written in the margins. "This is it," Cameron whispered. This is what she was collecting. Maya opened another box and found a small camera. She turned it on. The screen lit up with videos. Alia's face appeared. Maya's breath caught. Her sister looked tired but focused. She spoke directly into the camera, explaining what she had learned. She named people. She showed documents. She recorded conversations without showing faces, only voices. Maya covered her mouth, tears slipping out despite her effort to stay strong. "She knew," Maya whispered. "She really knew." Cameron nodded. And that scared someone. A noise outside made them both freeze. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Cameron moved to the door and peeked through the gap. His face went pale. "We are not alone," he said. Maya's chest tightened. "How many?" "At least 2, Cameron said. "Walking like they belong here." Maya looked around the unit. There was no back exit. No place to hide except behind the boxes. The footsteps stopped right outside. A shadow crossed the gap of light. Then a voice spoke, calm and firm. "You should close that door." Maya recognized it. The same voice from the phone. Her heart hammered. Cameron stepped forward slightly. "This is a public storage facility," he said. "You cannot tell us what to do." The voice laughed softly. "I can tell you this. You are holding things that do not belong to you." Maya's fear shifted into anger. She stepped beside Cameron. "They belonged to my sister." Silence followed. Then the voice said, "Your sister should have stayed out of matters she did not understand." Maya felt something inside her harden. She understood enough to scare you. Another pause. Then footsteps moved again, closer to the door. A hand appeared, gripping the edge of the metal. Cameron leaned toward Maya. "USB," he whispered. Maya understood. She slipped the USB drive from her pocket and pressed it into his hand. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "Trust me," Cameron said. He stepped forward and raised his voice. "We made copies." The hand on the door stopped. Cameron continued, "If anything happens to us, the files go public." Maya's breath caught. It was a lie, but a smart one. The voice outside stayed calm. "You are bluffing." Cameron smiled slightly. "Are you willing to test it?" Silence stretched. Then the footsteps moved away. Maya waited, counting her breaths. After a full minute, Cameron lifted the door and looked out. The walkway was empty. "They left," he said. Maya's legs felt weak. She sat on a box, shaking. "They will be back," she said. "Yes," Cameron agreed. "Which means we cannot stay quiet anymore." They packed quickly, taking the most important boxes and the camera. Maya locked the unit again, hiding what they could not carry. As they drove away, Maya realized something else. Alia had not just hidden evidence. She had set a path. A path that led straight to people who wanted secrets buried. And now Maya was walking that path. The question was no longer whether she would uncover the truth. It was whether she would survive long enough to share it. Maya looked at Cameron's car ahead of her, then at the road stretching forward into the dark. She whispered her sister's name, and promised she would not stop. The night did not feel like night anymore. It felt like a waiting room. Maya sat on the edge of the bed in a small roadside motel, staring at the camera on the table. Cameron had chosen the place because it did not ask for names, only cash. The curtains were pulled tight, but Maya still felt exposed, like the walls were too thin to keep secrets inside. Cameron stood near the window, watching the parking lot through a narrow gap. "They will look for us," he said quietly. Maya nodded. "They already are." The boxes they had taken from Storage 14 were stacked against the wall. Not everything, but enough. Enough to tell a story that someone had tried very hard to erase. Maya picked up the camera again and pressed play. Alia's face filled the screen. "If this recording is being watched," Alia said, "then I did not finish what I started. That means you are probably scared." I was too. Maya closed her eyes for a moment, then forced herself to keep watching. Alia explained how the development plan worked. A private group bought land quietly through fake offices and false repairs. They used pressure, fear, and confusing papers. People who refused were marked as problems. The houses on Alia Street were in the way. "So they lie," Alia said. "And when lies fail, they wait. They hope people give up. Or leave." The video ended. Maya wiped her face. She knew they would not stop. Cameron nodded. That is why she wanted this public. Maya looked at him. "Then we make it public." Cameron hesitated. "We need to be smart. If we release everything at once, they will deny it. They always do." Maya thought for a moment. "What if we start small? One proof. One name. Enough to make people ask questions." Cameron's eyes lit slightly. "A controlled release." "Yes," Maya said. "And while they scramble to clean that up, we prepare the rest." Cameron smiled for the first time that night. Alia would like that. They worked until early morning. Maya wrote a clear summary in simple words. Cameron selected a short clip from the camera, one that showed a voice clearly and matched the papers. They uploaded it anonymously, sending it to local reporters, housing groups, and public forums. When they finally stopped, the sun was rising. Maya leaned back against the bed. "Now what?" "Now we wait," Cameron said. They did not wait long. By midday, the story had started spreading. One reporter asked questions. Then, another. A local radio station mentioned it during the afternoon news. By evening, people online were sharing their own experiences with strange visits and pressure to sell. Maya watched it all unfold on her phone, her heart racing. "They are losing control," she said. Cameron nodded. "And they will try to get it back." That night, Someone knocked on the motel door. Maya and Cameron froze. The knock came again. Firm. Confident. Cameron motioned for silence and moved closer to the door. "Who is it?" "Management," a voice replied. "We need to check something." Maya's stomach dropped. She recognized the voice. Cameron did too. He opened the door slowly. The man stood there with 2 others behind him. Clean clothes. Calm faces. The same controlled confidence. "You should not have done that," the man said. Maya stepped forward. "You should not have threatened my sister." The man looked at her, studying her face. "She made a mistake." Maya shook her head. "She made a record." The man's smile faded. "You think attention will protect you?" "It already is," Maya replied. Sirens sounded in the distance. Not close, but coming closer. The man's eyes flicked toward the sound. He stepped back. "This is not over," he said. Maya held his gaze. "For you, it is." The men left quickly, disappearing into the parking lot. Minutes later, police cars arrived. Reporters followed. The story exploded. More documents came out. More voices spoke up. The group behind the project denied everything at first, then changed their story, then went silent. Within days, investigations began. Maya stood outside the old house a week later. The basement door was open now, sunlight reaching places it never had before. She felt tired, but lighter. Cameron stood beside her. "What will you do now?" Maya looked at the house, then at the street. "Finish what she started. Make sure no one else is pushed out quietly." Cameron smiled. She would be proud. Maya nodded. As she closed the basement wall for the last time, she understood something clearly. Alia had not hidden the truth because she was afraid. She had hidden it because she believed someone would be brave enough to find it. And this time, the truth stayed out.